36 years is a long time in one job, but thanks to some of the most interesting bosses an employee could hope for, Steve Williams can look back fondly on his career in golf. He was the right-hand man for an unmatched 14 major victories and can count greats such as Thompson, Norman, Floyd and Woods as his sidekicks. And after receiving an SOS call from Adam Scott, Williams is excited about picking up the bag once more.
Look, I love caddying. Look, it's an unusual thing to say. I've been obsessed with the thing, to be honest with you. It's an unusual job, I suppose, to be obsessed with, but I have. I've been obsessed as a caddy my whole life. I've always trying to work out how you can get a player to play better. That's something that I've always been obsessed with. So after 36 years of caddying, you've got to, you've got to come to an end at some point in time. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I haven't missed the golf one bit, and it's been really nice to spend time at home with my family and just, catch up with people you don't see very often. So no, it's been great.
Having caddied for 3 world #1s, Williams is a wealth of golfing knowledge. And earlier this year, he inspired a new generation of Kiwi caddies during a unique clinic, sharing the intricacies of caddying, from reading greens to raking bunkers.
You've got to get it as absolutely as smooth as you can. So with these sort of rakes here, you can go that way, and then you can go that way and back. Absolutely perfect, like that. And that, so you go that way. It takes time to rake a bunker. Don't rush it, all right? The pro will wait and he'll understand. You want to do the best you can. If you've got the time, that's how I would do it, like that. So you just rake it, that goes over it, and you just flick it back. Now that's perfect in there. If your ball lands on there, it's in there, it's like being on the fairway, isn't it? And it's like anything, you want to leave it better than what it was when you got there. And some of the tournaments you caddy in, like at Augusta, they have a guy that walks all around and rakes the bunkers. Now those are great tournaments.
Steve Williams started his caddying career with Australian great Peter Thompson in 1976 and continues into our 37th year with fellow Aussie Adam Scott. And when you've been on tour as long as Williams, you see plenty of development in the game.
Everything evolves. It's just another facet of life, and caddying has evolved like everything else has evolved. I mean, to think that when I first started caddying, there was no such thing as a yardage book. You did your own yardage book. There was no such thing as lasers. You all did everything by foot. Then the measuring wheels came along, and now they have lasers. So everything evolves. Caddying's just part of it. I mean, now you can buy a yardage book. You don't have to make your own one. And then even the yardage book has the elevation changes in it. Well, that was all done. You had to work that out in your head. So a guy that comes along now to be a caddy has no appreciation of what it was to caddy in the early years, where you had none of this information. You had to do it all yourself, and a lot of golf courses didn't have sprinklers and so forth on it. So an old caddy probably earned their money than some of the guys have just come along in the last few years, because they haven't learned what they've got to do. But that's not their fault, that's just times.
I'm just going to explain to you, like from a caddy's perspective, how we look at a golf hole. And if you were to come out here, every caddy like myself comes out here on their own and walks the golf course and tries to learn the golf course. So you stand on the tee here, there's things that you want to know. If we hit it in any of those bunkers that are visible, are they playable? So in your yardage book, I go up to every one of those bunkers, and if it's not playable to hit it out of that bunker, we write an X in it. If it's playable out of those bunkers, we tick it. So when you stand on the tee here, and if you hit it in those bunkers, you're not going to be disappointed. And when I mean playable, not can we advance it to the green, but can we advance from those bunkers up the fairway to a spot where we can hit our third shot close and be putting for a 4. This is a par 5.
It's not just these aspiring caddies who hope to follow in Steve's considerable footsteps. His son Jet may do so also. Williams Sr. began caddying at age 6, and like father, like son, Jet has often carried the bag of his dad's famous bosses during practice rounds.
I think he would like to do that, but look, it's not an easy road to get onto to be a caddy, to be fair. But any junior that plays golf probably has an interest in caddying, and it's a great way to see what the tour is all about, how the tour operates, how good you need to be to play the tour. Caddying is a great way to do that as a youngster, so it's a great learning trade.
We've come down here, we've worked out that these bunkers here are all playable. We can advance the ball from any of these bunkers here to what a caddy describes as, we call it the spot, D-A, the spot, the spot. If you're gonna lay up, a layup means you're laying up from all the trouble, okay? If we're standing here, we're not gonna try and lay up between this first bunker and the second bunker, because it's too narrow area and it's too precise. So when we lay up, you look at your yardage book. When you're walking up here and you walk, the layup spot here is at the base of this hill. You know, you lay up to where the widest part of the fairway is and the least amount of trouble. So if we were standing here and we were in one of these bunkers, you just want to tell the player, all he wants to know is what's the number to the spot. The layup spot is an area where you can advance the ball to, and you can get the ball from that layup spot to any pin position on the green and be putting for a 4. You're always on a par 5, you always must be putting for a 4, if not a 3, but we don't want to be putting for a 5. Support that pro, give him some encouragement. You know, when he hits a good shot, encourage him. You know, they like that. Pros love encouragement, pump them up. That's, you know, when you're a caddy, you just keep telling them how good they are. They love that sort of thing. Sometimes they aren't, but you know, you're trying to get a paycheck. All right?
As a caddy, Steve Williams' record is incomparable. He's learnt from the best and then taught others to be the best. It's easy to see why Scott wants Williams on the bag for one last push.
I think the player that I learnt the most from undoubtedly was Greg Norman. There's no question about that. I would never have achieved what I did today or what I've achieved as a caddy if I hadn't a caddy for Greg Norman. He was instrumental in teaching me the ropes. I was only 18 when I went to caddy for him, so he taught me the ropes basically. He was a phenomenal player, and you know, he taught me a lot about golf and taught me, between him and his coach, taught me a lot about the technique of golf. And then, you know, I think the player that I've helped the most, you'd have to ask them that, but you know, probably Adam Scott for sure. You know, I've always been a friend of Adam's and wondered why he didn't do better in that, and to have the opportunity to caddy for him for a couple of years and fulfill some great goals, and that was very satisfying.
As Williams and Scott pace the fairways together once more, the Kiwi caddy hasn't come out of retirement, but he's got his wish of semi-retirement, with the Anzac duo aiming to reclaim their ranking of world #1.